with this class, it's a Vinyasa Flow. If you don't know what that is, it's just we're going to be moving with our breath. So on inhales and exhales, you move with your breath. And I'll obviously be cueing that, but everybody breathes differently. You have longer breaths, you have shorter breaths. So listen to what I'm kind of cueing, but if you need to take your time, you do you. And obviously at any point, you can come back into child's pose. You can meet us back in a different pose later on. You're more than welcome to do whatever you like, really. It's 50 minutes long. And with this class, it's going to be focused on building your foundations. So that is really key in yoga, and I suppose any different form of exercise, because it's going to minimize any wear and tear that you will create in your body if you don't do things correctly. So if you're not putting your joints where they should be, you're going to be overstretching, you're going to be pushing them past the limit, and you could be then making yourself create knee problems, hip problems, back problems. So to give you the confidence to go into your practice yourself, this is really going to give you all of those key kind of pointers to really give you a good base from your practice. So with that, if you'd like to join me on your backs, we're just going to start to warm up our body. So we're going to put our soles of the feet together, and your knees are just going to be wide to the side. So this is in our reclined butterfly. And just start to take some inhales. Exhale through your mouth at this point. You can just sigh out any tension that you can feel in your body. Just start to notice on your inhales, do you feel any tension in that breath? Like in your neck, is there any kind of sticking points where your breath just isn't flowing as nicely as you think it could? And just start to think about those areas. Make sure you're filling up your belly, your ribs, your back on your inhales, and just exhaling all of that stale air. If you're like me and you've just been sat down today, it's a really good time to just ground onto your mat and just take some time for you. You've got nowhere else to be right now. We're going to close our mouth and just focus on your inhales and exhales through your nose. If you are more familiar with practice, then you can start your ujjayi breathing. If not, inhale and exhale through your nose is absolutely perfect. On an inhale, you're just going to help this right knee up and over, so all the way over to the left knee. So they're both stacking on top of each other. Take your arms out into a big T shape and look towards your right hand. So you're just stretching down that right side of the body, really nice and gently, just opening it up. And just inhaling, feel that back expand. Exhale. On your next inhale, we're going to come through center and do the exact same on the other side to take the left leg all the way over to meet the right. Still bent knees. T-shaped arms and look over to the left. Inhale, expand through that back body. Really stretch out all those ribs, the intercostal muscles. And exhale. One more time, inhale through center, over to the left, so stacking those knees and look over to the right. And your next inhale, back through center, knees over to the right, and look to the left. We're going to meet in center. Put your knees up to the sky, feet onto the mat, so you're kind of coming into this bridge pose. Your feet are going to be about hips width apart. I'm going to start to get into some pelvic tilts to warm up your core. And also this will be a cue that we use throughout practice. So just your hands at the side of your body. And on an inhale, we're going to squeeze the pelvis to the belly, taking that belly button to the core. So you're really flattening any space in that lower back. So you've got no space in the lower back and the mat. Exhale, just return back to your normal state. Inhale, squeeze the pelvis almost to your face, belly to the spine. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, squeeze the pelvis to your belly button to spine. No space for that lower back. It's completely touching the mat. Exhale, back to center. One more round in your own time. Inhale, squeeze. Once you're ready, we're going to squeeze the knees into your chest. Start to create some movement here, rock from side to side. If you feel comfortable doing so, you can put your hands behind your hamstrings and rock and roll up to the top of your mat. If not, simply roll over to the side and just push yourself up really nice and supportively. And then we'll meet in all fours, so your tabletop position. So we're going to start to cue the stacking of your joints. So your hands are out in front of you. They're going to be your wrist directly underneath your shoulders, and your hands are going to be about shoulders width apart. Now make sure your hands on the mat are spread super far. That's going to give you a lot of stability and grip. And you're pushing the mat away, so you're not dumping into your shoulders, you're really pushing the mat away. Your knees are directly under your hips and about hips width apart. And we've already started to activate the core, so continue doing so, drawing that belly button to spine here. We are going to be on our wrists today, so we'll warm those up, take some wrist rotations, so come over in front of those wrists of your body, come back to the back of your mat, round again, so all the way around to the front of your mat in one direction, and back, and just go in a couple of rounds by yourself. And then when you're ready, you can start to go the other way. And if you want to do any other movements here that you feel you want to stretch your wrists a bit more, do so. And then we'll meet in the center again when you're ready. We'll take some cat-cows to warm up that back body. So in your inhale, we're going to look up to the sky. We're going to drop the pelvis, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, draw your belly to spine, pelvis all the way up to your belly button, tuck that chin. Really dome that back and spread the shoulder blades apart. Inhale, cow. Look forward, drop your pelvis, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, cat, tuck your chin to your chest, pelvis to your belly button, really squeeze up and dome that back as much as you can. Take a couple of rounds in your own time here. Inhale into your cow. And exhaling into your cat. We'll do one more round. When you're ready, come back to all fours. Now we're going to take our first downward dog of the day. So we'll tuck our toes. We're going to really use our grip on the mat and our strength of our hands to push our sit bones all the way to the sky. So exhale, push the hip bones to the sky. Push the mat away with your hands. Some important cues here whilst we're just resting here and just using this time to stretch. Your fingers are still spread. Your index fingers are parallel or just slightly rotated to the outside of your mat. Squeeze the thumbs together. This activates your chest and spreads the shoulder blades apart, and that gives your shoulders much more stability in their sockets. So all about stacking the joints correctly. We want a really long line from the hands all the way up to the sit bones. And to do this, you need to take your heels off of the mat most likely and really bend into those knees so you can create that space in your back body. Keep that core nice and tight. And just gaze really gently at that space in between your feet. You shouldn't be able to see your heels, so if you can, internally rotate your thighs. So that's your thighs are rotating inwards to each other and then out to the back of the mat. If you need to take some pedals here, do so. So just one leg straight, the other one bent. Come to stillness. Inhale, look to the front of your mat. And on your exhale, squeeze all the air out of your belly and start to tiptoe forward to the front of your mat. We'll arrive with your feet just over hips width apart. Forward fold, so really bend those knees so your chest is to your thighs. If you can grab the opposite elbows, do so. If not, just forearms is absolutely perfect. And start to just rock and roll here. So really, like, you can nod your head, you can shake your head, rock side to side. Again, you're just warming up those hamstrings, that back body. Nice deep inhales and exhales through the nose. And then come to stillness. And on your next inhale, we're just going to roll all the way up to standing through every single vertebrae. And then bring the feet to touch. And we're going to get straight into it. Straight into our flow. Into a chair pose. So your feet, your big toes are touching, your heels are apart. Your thighs are squeezing together. So if you had something in between your thighs, it wouldn't be moving. So in your inhale, you're going to drop those hips back like you're sitting on a chair. Your hands are going up to the sky, the palms are facing inwards to each other. Look down. You should be able to see your toes. Keep that activation in the inner thigh. That pelvic tilt here like we were doing on the floor. So squeeze the pelvis to the belly button. That eliminates any extra curve in your back. So you're really stabilizing all of your spine. Inhale, lengthen your arms to the sky. And on your exhale, your right arm is going to come down and sweep all the way to the back of the mat. A nice twist here. Inhale, right hand down and back up to join your left. Exhale, forward fold. So you're going to bend your knees, chest to thighs. Inhale, high plank. This can be on your knees. It's absolutely fine. So really squeeze your core to your belly button to your spine here. Push the mat away. Activate your quads. Inhale here. Exhale back to downward dog. Push the mat away. Bend your knees, hip heels lifted off of the ground to give all of that space in your back. Inhale, lift your right leg to the sky. Now your hips have to be square. You might not be able to raise your leg as much as you think you can, but this is how your hips are stable. On your exhale, you're going to bend that knee up to the tiptoes of your left foot and draw your knee to your nose. Step that foot through into a low lunge at the front of your mat. If you need to give your foot a helping hand, that's absolutely fine. On your inhale, we're going to come into a warrior two. So you're going to spin that back foot down to the mat. It's on a diagonal up to the front of the mat. Again, stacking the joints. We've got our knee directly over our ankle. You can have it back, but it absolutely cannot be over the ankle. Now think about this front knee. It has to be tracking towards the little toe side of the foot rather than knocking inwards, just to really stabilize that knee. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears and settle in. Looking really gently over that front hand. And on your exhale, sweep the hands cartwheeling down to that low lunge. Join the left leg to the front, so up into your right foot. Forward fold, knees bent, chest to thighs. Inhale all the way up to standing. The other side. Inhale, chair pose, so sit back into those hips. Make sure you can see your toes. Is your pelvis drawing into your belly button? Hands up, palms facing. Exhale, sweep that left arm all the way down and around. So you're looking back. Inhale, arm back up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, knees bent, chest to thighs. Inhale, back into that high plank. Knees down is absolutely perfect. Push the mat away. Inhale here. Make sure your core is still active. Exhale back into your downward dog, so your feet are just about hips width apart. Push the hands in away from the ground. Squeeze those thumbs together. Inhale, draw your left leg to the sky. Remember, square hips. Don't take that left leg too high. On your inhale, bend the left leg. On your exhale, bend the left leg up to the tippy toes of the right foot. Squeeze that knee to your nose, all the way through to your low lunge. Again, give that foot a helping hand. Your left leg now needs to be your ankle and your knee in line. Inhale, coming up to your warrior two. So that back foot is now down on the ground. Make sure that knee is in line with your ankle. And it's tracking over the little toe side of the foot. Really make sure you're activating your core here and your shoulders are away from your neck. Just gazing really gently over that front hand. On your next exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Bring your right foot to meet your left at the front of your mat in a forward fold, so knees bent, chest to thighs. Inhale all the way up to standing. And repeat. Chair pose, toes touching, heels apart. Inhale all the way up to sky, pelvis to belly button. Exhale, sweep your right arm down, twist back to the back of your mat. Inhale, hands reach. Exhale, forward fold, chest to thighs, knees bent. Inhale, high plank, stepping your legs back. Can you come off of your knees this time? Exhale, back to your down dog. Again, keeping those knees bent if you have to. Really push that mat away, relaxing that neck. Inhale, right foot to the sky, legs straight, keep your hips square. Exhale onto the tippy toes of the left foot, knee to your nose. Step through to your low lunge. Inhale up to your warrior two. Make sure that your knee and your ankle are tracking over one another. Settle in here. Shoulders are away from your ears. And that knee is tracking to the little toe side of the foot. On an exhale, we're going to come into our extended side angle. So your right arm is coming to your right thigh. Your left arm is going overhead in line with your ear. And you're just settling in here. You're really creating a long side body. You're not crunching into it like this. Really thinking about expanding, keeping a huge space open through your collarbone. Exhale all the way down to low lunge. Step that left leg to meet the right at the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Chair pose again. Inhale, sink those hips low. Pelvis to belly button. Can you see those toes? Squeezing the inner thighs. Exhale, left arm goes all the way down to the mat and back up again. Back to the back of your mat for a twist. Inhale, hands together again at the top of your head. Exhale, forward fold, knees bent, chest to thighs. Inhale, high plank. Make sure you're pushing the mat away, squeezing the core in. Exhale, downward dog. Push that mat away. Are your fingers nice and spread apart? Make sure you're spreading the shoulder blades apart. Inhale, left leg to the sky, square hips. Exhale, come to the tippy toes of the right foot. Bend your left knee, knee to nose. Step through to your low lunge. Again, helping hand with your to bring your foot in line. Inhale into your warrior two. Knee is in line with your ankle. Your ankle is coming over to the little toe side of the foot. Your shoulders are away from your ears. And you're just settling in here. Make sure your core is still active. And your quads are burning. Exhale, you're going to bring that left arm down to the left thigh. Right arm sweeps overhead into your extended side angle. Making sure you get a huge, nice opening in your collarbone. You're not hunching into your, like forward, you're not folding over. Creating a big amount of space. Exhale, back to your low lunge. Bring that right leg to join the left. Forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Inhale, we're going to come all the way up with our hands all the way up to the sky this time rather than a chair. So Uttanasana, hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. So arms sweep out to the side into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift this time. So our back is straight, our hands are to our shins. We're really squeezing that core to the spine and we're just gazing at the front of our mat. Exhale, back into our high plank. Push that mat away. Now you can either come into a side plank with both knees up, or you can drop that left knee, spin it round to the left side of the mat, bring your right arm off the mat, and spin out open into your side plank here. If you do want a little bit of extra strengthening, you can lift that right leg off. You can obviously join the full variation of side plank. Whatever variation you're in, make sure your collarbone is smiling. You're not crunching. And then back into your high plank. Exhale, downward dog. Push the floor away. Inhale, three-leg dog. So that's the right leg to the sky with your square hips. Bend the right knee and take your knee up to the ceiling. So this is the one where it's like the dog weeing on a lamppost. You're keeping your shoulders square to the mat here. I know there's a tendency to start to bring your left shoulder to the mat to try and spin that knee further, but we really need to keep the stability of our shoulders. Inhale here. Exhale, take your foot back to the mat. We're going to inhale, three-leg dog again, so right leg to the sky, square hips. Exhale, tiger curl, so that's where you squeeze that knee to your nose and come through to your low lunge. We're going to inhale here, look forward in our low lunge, make sure your ankle and knee are stacked. And then bring our left leg to our right in a forward fold. So knees bent, chest to thighs. Inhale all the way up to standing. We'll do that on the other side. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky in Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, so arms all the way out to the side, knees bent, chest to thighs. Inhale, halfway lift, so your hands are to your shins, you're squeezing that core in, your back is straight, and you're just gazing at the front of your mat. Exhale, back into that high plank. So again, pushing that mat away, And you can come into that side plank. Are you going to go for the full variation or come down with me with my knee on the ground? So your right knee's on the ground, your foot's to the side of the mat, your left leg is long. Your collarbone is smiling to the sky. Really think that there's like a fire underneath your side body almost, so you're really keeping that up. You're squeezing all of those oblique muscles, so that's the side of your abs. Can you lift up that left leg for a little bit of strength? And then we're going to come back into a high plank. Inhale here. Exhale, back into your down dog. We're going to come up into our three-leg dog, so you'll kind of bring that leg up to the sky, square hips. Into that dog winging pose again, so scorpion, bend your knee, take your knee to the ceiling, and open up those hips. Make sure your shoulders are square to the floor. You're not taking up that left shoulder to make your hip open up even more. Exhale, just take the leg back down to down dog. Inhale, three-leg dog again, so left leg to the ceiling. Exhale, tiger curl, so you're squeezing that left knee to your nose. Into your low lunge. So your left leg is in the front. Your ankle and your knee are in line with each other. And then we're going to take our right foot and join it at the front. Exhale, forward fold, so knees bent, chest to thighs. Inhale, roll all the way up into Tadasana. Okay, we're going to come to a couple of standing postures now. I'll come to face you here. So we're going to inhale into stalk. So you inhale, you raise your hands up to the sky. You bring your right leg to the sky at the same time, so your right knee is almost coming into your chest. You're going to need to use that pelvic tilt again, because you don't want to start to lean back like this. You really want to create the strength from your core. So by squeezing the pelvis to your belly button again, you just bring everything into the midline. You might hear that cue sometimes in yoga. So we're in our stalk here. Again, one cue, don't dump into that left hip. So this hip, you want to bring all of the joints stacking on top of each other, and you do that by activating the glute, squeezing it up. Again, thinking about this as your midline of your body, everything is coming in. On your exhale, you're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee and sink down, almost like that chair pose again. Make sure the ankle is over the knee, and then it's not on that left knee either. Any kind of tension or weight on a knee is never good, whatever you're doing. You can bring your hands to your heart center here, so in prayer. If you do have an arm balance in your practice, you can go for it now. If not, we'll just stay here, and you're really going to be stretching out that side of the hip on your right side. I know we've done a lot of quad work, so you might be feeling the heat now. Inhale up to stalk again. Squeeze the pelvis to the belly button. Exhale, standing, return your hands. And now on the other side, it's going to inhale, stalk, so arms up to the sky, left knee up, really pull it into your knee into the chest, pelvis into your belly button. Remember not to dump into that hip, so squeeze that hip into midline. Think about this as your midline. Exhale, you're going to take that left leg over your right knee and bend down. Again, keeping that core activated, your pelvis still pulling up to that belly button. You can take your hands to your heart center and then just start to sink down any much further. What we don't want to do here as well, you don't want to start to really dome your back like this. We always want to be smiling those collarbones. So you always want to have that open. It might mean that you don't go down as far, but it's better for all of your spine. Inhale back to stalk, and then return your feet. Inhale, Uttanasana, hands all the way up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, swan dive, so your hands out to the side, knees bent, chest to thighs. Inhale, halfway lift, so that's where your hands are on your shins, you're gazing at the front of your mat, your back is straight. You're going to exhale back into your high plank. Your knees are down, high planks are done. And if you want to come with me, we're just going to do the only push-up of the whole practice, so your chaturanga. You're just going to take your elbows back to the back of your mat and come all the way down to your belly. Okay, so we're going to come into a stretch for our lower back at this point. We're going to bring our elbows underneath our shoulders. So your shoulders are here, your elbows are directly underneath them. And then the placement of the hands is again, placement of the elbows is about shoulder width apart. Your palms are spread out down to facing the ground and your fingers are all spread. And it's a bit like a cow back, so you're thinking about squeezing the shoulder blades together, drawing the shoulders back and down, and you're just gazing, just kind of diagonally to the front of the mat. You're thinking about that pelvic tilt again, so think about that pelvis coming up to your belly button. Your feet can be over hips width apart. And we're just going to stay here for a few rounds of breath. You can also get this in the same kind of way, so specifically for KT, if you can't come down to your belly, you can come into a camel pose. So if you come up to your knees like this and tuck your toes under, place your hands at the lower back for the support. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, just come back just a little bit. Or if you've got it in your practice, you can grab hold of your ankles, but just here is perfect. And then when you're ready, you can just come back down into a child's pose. So you should be feeling that really nice stretch through your lower back. On your exhale, just take your forehead back to the ground. You can spread your arms now. And then you're going to take your hands, still laying on your belly, you're going to take your hands into goalpost arms. So goalpost is like this on the ground, so you've got this 90-degree angle. Katie, you can get the same thing if you went up to a wall and stood up to a wall and put your arm there and pushed away from your arm. So it's just a stretch all through that front of your chest. So everyone who's down on your belly with me here, we'll go roll over to our left first. So you've got your goalpost arm with your left arm. Come up to your tippy fingers on your right hand. Lift that right leg and then roll over to your left. So your right foot is now behind you. It can be up in the air, it can be whatever's comfortable. Don't overstretch. If it is uncomfortable, if it's super uncomfortable, come out of it. If it's just a little bit uncomfortable, you can just take your arm just slightly in front. So it's not in a 90-degree angle anymore. It's just in a bit, I don't know, less of an angle, I suppose. So stay here, breathe nicely and deeply. Exhale back to your belly. And we'll do the other side. So left tippy fingers, left foot off of the ground. Roll over to your right side. Both sides could be completely different as well, so don't worry. Everyone's always got a stronger side and a different side. Really breathe nice and deeply here. If you are finding any discomfort rather than pain, your breath is a really powerful mechanism to calm the central nervous system down. So if you keep breathing nice and deeply, big deep belly breaths, it just tells your body that you're okay. You don't need to suddenly, it's like that fight or flight kind of response. Exhale back to your belly. Just going to roll up into all fours here. So your tabletop. Simply just swing your legs around. And really, really slowly, arms out in front of you. Really activating your core. we're going to roll down to our mat. So you're in that same position as we were before at the start of the class when we were doing the pelvic tilt. So your knees are up to the sky, your feet are about hips width apart. You should kind of be able to touch your heels as well. Now we're coming into a bridge here. What's really important, again, for your knees, is that your thighs are activated, so your inner thighs are activated. You can do this by, you're not going to bring your thighs to touch, but you can feel that your inner thighs are working, so just make sure you're thinking about that. So we're going to go one step further than those pelvic tilts earlier. So we're going to inhale, we're going to actually take our bum off of the ground. Your hands are just to the side of you. If you do have it in your practice, you can take your arms, hands interlaced and your shoulders rolling underneath your back. If not, it's absolutely fine just to stay with your hands just next to your body. Think about that pelvis tilting up to the belly button again. So you're really lengthening through that underneath of your legs, through the hamstrings. You're thinking about length more than height and shortening that distance between that, like under your bum cheek and behind the knees. Just some really nice slow deep breaths here. Inhale, exhale. Still activating that core. And your next exhale, roll down to the mat. And then we'll inhale, come back up again. So tilt that pelvis, squeeze the pelvis to your belly button, shorten that distance between your, like that, that like line under your bum cheeks and the back of your knees. And here again, like I said, make sure you're thinking about those inner thighs being active and your knees are directly facing forward. You don't want your knees to be splaying out to the side and you don't want your knees to be knocking into the middle. This is how your knees are going to become unstable, so really keep them firm and to the front. Exhale, down. We're going to do one more here. Inhale, draw your pelvis up to the sky. Again, pelvis to your belly button. Shorten that distance between that bum crease and the back of your knees. Calm your breath down. Exhale, back down to the sky. If you hug your knees now, just gently, because your lower back could be a little bit like tension, you could have a bit of tension in your lower back, so just really gently hug here. If you were comfortable doing it before, put your hands behind your hamstrings and rock and roll up to the top of your mat. If not, just roll over to the side and push yourself up. Okay, now we're going to come into our forward fold here. So your legs out are in front, your toes are flexed, your toes are facing your face. We're going to pull out any of that flesh from your bum that we all have. So you're really sitting on your sit bones at this point. Your knees can absolutely be bent because, like we said earlier, we want to keep that length in our back rather than doming like this. So it's more of an active stretch than a passive stretch. So you're going to inhale, arms to the sky. Keep that core nice and active. Exhale, fold forward. Grab hold of whatever you can grab hold of. You are on your mat how you are today. Do not worry about it. Inhale, lengthen. What you can do to lengthen, you can tip your pelvis forward. So you're almost sticking your bum out. That gives you more space to fold. So in your inhale, think about lengthening. We want to smile that collarbone. And in your exhale, can you fold any further? If not, doesn't matter. Try and relax your face. I know it's hard. Probably if your face isn't relaxed, it means you're pulling too much and you're overstretching. Final inhale, so really lengthen that back leg, stick that bum out. Exhale, fold a bit deeper. Inhale, just back up to seated here. We're going to bring our right knee in, so your knee is now to the sky, and just help that knee fold out to the side. So your right foot is in, like the sole of the foot is into the left leg. We're going to inhale, arms up to the sky, and we're coming into a twist. So your left hand is going to come to the right knee, your right hand is going to find the back of the mat, and you're going to look over that right shoulder, so you're looking to the back of the mat. And just nice and big length in your back again, you don't want to crunch too much. Inhale, exhale, you might be able to look a little bit more, if not it doesn't matter. Inhale, exhale. We're going to come back to center, just help that knee up and then replace it back at the front of your mat. We're going to bring that left knee up so it's bent, the knee facing the ceiling, and just help that knee go out to the side. Your left sole of the foot is in the inner thigh of the right leg, right thigh. Twist again. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, the right arm is going to find the left knee to the back of the room. Inhale, lengthen that crown to the ceiling. Exhale, can you twist any deeper? Twists in yoga are so great for like revitalizing your organs as well. So perfect for the morning when you might be feeling a bit sluggish, because it just stops all of the oxygen in the blood going to those like digestive organs. And when you untwist, your organs get a new flush of energy and new flush of oxygen and blood. So it just helps waken them up and all be working how they should be. Come back to the center. We're going to put our feet onto the mat now, knees bent up to the sky, and really slowly roll all the way down to lying on your mat. Do one final hug of the knees here. You can tuck your chin in, your forehead to your knees. Really, really tiny. Any slight movements here, rocking and rolling. And then into your final pose, Shavasana. So this is where you come into stillness. Your feet and legs are just over mat's width apart. Your arms are away from your body. Just tuck your chin slightly to your chest so you've got a really nice long neck. Roll your shoulders away from your ears and down the back body. And just really relax into your mat here. This is your time for stillness. Just relax the breath. If you do get any thoughts that come into your mind, I like to just think of them as clouds and just breathe them away back to that bright blue sky. Think about relaxing all of your body here into the mat, feeling really heavy. Relax any tension in your jaw, any tension behind your eyes. start to wiggle our toes and our feet, just bringing some movement back into your body. Rotating those wrists and the ankles in one direction and the other. Come into a big morning stretch, so your arms out behind your head on the mat and your feet together in the front of your mat, and just really stretch, so taking them as far away from each other as you can. When you're ready, we're going to roll over to the left side, so bending your knees up to the ceiling and roll over, and you're going to be using your left arm as a pillow here. Just stay here for a few rounds of breath. And when you're ready, with your hands, just push up really slowly, making sure your head is the last thing to come up. And you can just join me in a seated position at the top of your mat. So legs crossed, whatever's the easiest for you. Keeping your eyes closed. Rest your palms on your thighs or wherever's comfortable for you. Bringing your hands to heart center, your palms touching. Take your palms to your third eye center, so that's just in between your eyebrows. Just bow your head slightly. The light in me sees the light in you, and I am so grateful for you practicing with me today and sharing all of your energy. I know it might not seem like it, but it does almost feel like it's a real life class. So I suppose virtual could be the way forward. But thank you so much for everybody for your time. And I hope you feel a little bit stretched out today and a bit away from the chair that you probably all been sitting on for your work and ready to start afresh tomorrow. Take your hands away. You can start to blink your eyes open whenever you're ready.